দর্শক আমি সামিয়া রহমান আছি নিউজ 24 এর বিশেষ সাক্ষাৎকারে আমার সাথে আছেন ভারতীয় হাই কমিশনার মিস্টার হর্ষবর্ধন শ্রীংলা ওয়েলকাম টু আওয়ার স্টুডিও হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you so much for your time. But first of all, I would like to say that we, the people of Bangladesh, we will never forget the contribution of Indian soldiers in our liberation war, and we have deep respect to Mrs. Indira Gandhi for her courageous role in 1971. Thank you.
Well, I think people of India are proud to be associated with that era in our history in which we were partners with you in your struggle for liberation. And we very much look back to that period as a period of very unique friendship and cooperation with Bangladesh.
First, I would like to ask your opinion on our Prime Minister's upcoming visit to India. Do you think this visit will impact upon the relationship between India and Bangladesh?
Well, it's a very important visit. This is the first visit by the Prime Minister in a current term of office to India.
After 7 years.
Yes, last visit was in 2010. And from the Indian side, we intend to give it the fullest priority. Clearly, there are lots of very important elements of the visit. There will be a lot of deliverables, and I'm sure we will see this visit as a landmark visit when you look at it in retrospect.
You have said before the interview that your Prime Minister Modi, he was saying about Bangladesh in a radio show.
Yes, yesterday in his Man Ki Baat program, which is a periodic radio interview that the Prime Minister conducts, normally the audience is the people of India. He spoke about India's relationship with Bangladesh in the context of your National Day, your Independence Day yesterday. And he spoke about the contribution of Bangabandhu in the history of Bangladesh and the making of Bangladesh, but also about the close relationship we enjoy and the importance and priority India attaches to its relationship with Bangladesh.
That means India is giving priority to Bangladesh. And that's why I believe that for three major reasons, this visit is very important for Bangladesh. First of all, as I have said, that it's a long-awaited visit. And secondly, our upcoming national election, and the general perception is that India has always played a major role in our election. And thirdly, the role of Modi government and his attitude towards Bangladesh.
Well, let's come back to the last point you mentioned, which is essentially the importance we attach to Bangladesh, and that is because you are our largest neighbor, because we enjoy the longest land boundary with Bangladesh, 4,090 kilometers to be precise. You are, let's say, you have a contiguous boundary with 5 of our states, and your development and the well-being of your people is inextricably linked to our development and the well-being of our people. So in many senses, our destinies are interlinked. And on the issue of elections, of course, we are democracies. Elections have to be held periodically. India has always been in favor of very strong democracies in our neighborhood. And certainly, we would like to see, as anybody else, a vibrant democracy in Bangladesh, which is what it is. As to our own role in your elections,
it's a general perception.
Yeah, and that perception I think is perhaps colored by some aspects of our historical relationship. But I can tell you that as far as we are concerned, our friendship is at the level of the people. It is important for us to ensure that at the people-to-people level, we have the best relationship possible, and that there are maximum exchanges at the level of people of our two countries, and our focus has been on that level. If the relationship between people, if the people of our two countries see a stake in the friendship that we need to have, then it doesn't matter which government is in power in India or in Bangladesh. What is important is that the relationship endures and is sustainable over time.
We have heard that the aim of this visit is to strengthen the ties between Bangladesh and India. How do you suppose this can be carried out?
Well, this process of strengthening relations has to be seen over the last few years. I think over the last 8 years, we have seen a lot of progress in the relationship. The visit of our Prime Minister to Bangladesh in June 2015 was in many senses a landmark visit, because we concluded not just a land boundary agreement, but also the maritime agreement. There are very few countries that manage to conclude agreements which are so complicated in nature. where you have to acquire and cede territory, needs not only political will, but also needs the support of the people of the countries concerned. We have managed to do both land and maritime boundary in a single year, and I think that itself shows the degree of comfort and friendship that our two countries enjoy. And taking from the land boundary agreement, I am sure there are many other areas that we can continue to work on. But what is important is today we have a vibrant and flourishing trade. We are investing in each other as countries. We are improving connectivity and infrastructure. India is a development partner of Bangladesh's. And as I said, we have a stake in your development because it means that it contributes to our development. So whatever we do is mutually beneficial between our two countries.
I want to ask you one thing. We are expecting that this visit will expand cordial and cooperative relationship for both India and Bangladesh, but undeniably there is some mistrust is going on. Do you think this mistrust is going on in the policy making level, or it's in in leadership level, or amongst the common people?
Well, all I can say is that when you have two countries that are so close to each other, both geographically, historically, culturally, civilizationally, even in a family you have differences between people, you have difference of opinion on certain issues. But I think mistrust as such is not something that is fundamental and inherent in our relationship. That mistrust is on certain issues that comes up from time to time, if at all there is any such mistrust.
But is it in policy making level, or it's among the common people?
No, I would think that it's neither in policy making nor among the common people. My perception is that when there are differences on certain issues, they are not across the board. They exist in certain sections, and it is important that we continue to work together to clear up any such misperceptions.
But there is some confusion, some tensions. How can these tensions or confusions to be removed through the course of this visit?
Well, as I said, everything is work in progress, and every step we take is a step towards furthering and cementing the relationship. And as I said, we have passed through different eras in our recent history. There has been an era of full cooperation, collaboration in 1971 up to 1975. Thereafter, we have had some differences at the political level because of governments in your own country that had their own priorities. But today we are coming back to a situation where, as I said, both the policies of the government and the aspirations of the younger people in your country, which is the majority of a country, 70% of your population is below 40 years, 65% of India is below 35 years. There is a convergence there. Our interests are to move forward economically, develop, have good relations with our neighbors, have peace and tranquility on our borders. That is your idea as well. So there's a convergence, and we take it forward. We are working on many issues today, as I said, in development, in connectivity, in infrastructure development, in sub-regional cooperation, not just with Bangladesh, but India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Bhutan working together to create sub-regional connectivity, sub-regional synergies. And these are areas I think which we'll see in the next 5-7 years. We'll see a lot of gains accruing to all our countries on this account.
You have said that the relationship of Bangladesh and India is far beyond than just categorize. It's much more complicated. What kind of complications you have seen or you have felt? When
I say far beyond, I meant in civilizational terms. Civilization is mainly along river valleys. And the river valley, when you take the Gangetic Valley, the Padma, you take the Brahmaputra Valley, the Meghna, the Jamuna, the fact of the matter is this is where civilization began and continues today. So the relationship that we see among our countries is based on riverine systems, is based on a continuity of relationship that is civilizational. And it is not something that you can attach a rubric to. You can't say in technical terms that this is a relationship that is X or Y or Z. I think it is a relationship that transcends all of this, a relationship that has to be seen in historical, cultural and finally civilizational terms. We are two civilizations that have a lot of commonality.
We have heard that during this visit some decisions will be taken, especially on some bilateral mechanisms in the areas of security and border management, trade and commerce, power, energy, shipping, railway, etc. In what specific field do you exactly think that vast change will come?
Well, we are working on entire range of different areas of cooperation, and you will see in terms of the outcomes of the visit that we will be covering a very wide range, right, as you said, right from trade and connectivity to infrastructure to information and media to high technology areas. So we will see many areas where our cooperation will be in focus, where our cooperation will be sought to be increased. And I think this is where we will see the maximum benefits. Even in development partnership, you will see that India has always been a development partner of Bangladesh's, and we will continue to be a close development partner of yours with the fullest understanding that your development is linked to ours. No other country can have that paradigm that you and we share, where if something good happens to you, it happens to us, and vice versa.
Because of the geographical condition.
Geographical, historical, and as I said, civilizational conditions. Yeah.
We have heard that MOU on around 29 issues will likely to be signed during this visit. Do you have any ideas about it?
As I said, I mean, we still have a couple of weeks before the visit. There is a lot of work that is being done by our two teams. People are hard at work to see what are the areas that we can conclude different agreements on. I can't give you the specifics, but I can only tell you that you will not be disappointed with the outcomes.
Definitely, we hope that. When your Prime Minister Modi came to Bangladesh in 2015, the public impression was that the two countries will sort out their long-lasting problems. But the biggest frustration remains in the crucial area of water sharing. In regards of Tista issue, Mamata Banerjee's rigid attitude put us into confusion and tension once more. And what do you think? Will this visit be able to shade some development on this Tista issue?
You see, I look at everything as a process. After all,
you are a diplomat.
No, I think you have to see it as something that is happening. If you see in 2009, you would not have thought that we could conclude a land boundary agreement by 2011 and implement it by 2015. The maritime boundary, where both our countries had different perception where the maritime boundary lay, has been resolved. We have given you full duty-free, quota-free access to our market. We have become an important development partner of yours. All of these things have happened in the span of 5-6 years. And there's a lot more that we can do. And we will continue to work together to try and achieve those objectives.
But will this visit bring out some development on this issue?
As I said, everything has to be seen as something that our two countries are working on. India is a democracy like Bangladesh. We are also we have a federal structure. We need to work with all concerned, and even if you have a stakeholder which has a certain interest in that, we have to make sure that those consultations are complete. Land boundary agreement took 5 years to conclude because we wanted to seek consensus. Once we sought consensus on the land boundary issue, the implementation was very easy because there was nobody along the borders or nobody who had an interest in the implementation of land boundary could object to the basic features of the land boundary agreement. So we want to make sure that any complicated but also very important decisions that we take are those that are acceptable to all concerned, are consensual, non-controversial, and that will happen sooner or later in every sphere.
His Excellency, you are a very good diplomat, but I have so many questions. Will this visit give importance on separate defense treaty or agreement?
Well, I see a lot in the media on defense treaty agreement, but I think those who are writing about it have to educate me on what this means. As I said, we are working on a number of areas. Some of them encompass areas that are economics, some high technology, some science and technology, some connectivity. We are also looking at how we have a very close and cooperative relationship between the armed forces of our two countries. There are a lot of exchange of the visits of our chiefs are regular on both sides. We have a lot of training and capacity building areas. We work together on joint exercises on the naval side, on the military side, on the Air Force side. And we will see a continued expansion and cooperation in this area as with any friendly neighboring countries. And in that context, any further institutional arrangements that we conclude will be only in keeping with this close cooperative relationship that we enjoy.
You are talking about mutual benefit, but will Bangladesh's security be harmed by this kind of deal?
Bangladesh's security is integrally linked to our security. If you are able to comprehensively address the issues that are before you that is good for us. Similarly, if we are able to address the issues on our side of the border, that is good for you, because with countries that have such a long border, it is very easy for any of these influences to go across. So we work very closely, very cooperatively, and in every way try and get the best inputs from our security agencies on both sides, that they are able to function in perfect synergy. And I think the cooperation between our security, law and order forces have been very good. Information sharing and cooperation at all fronts has been very good. People of India are very appreciative of Bangladesh for having dismantled networks of terrorism and insurgency and militancy that to some extent destabilized parts of India. Today, Bangladesh is pursuing under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina a zero tolerance policy for terrorism. We have the highest regard for that. So whatever you do, we will support you in that endeavor. And this is what our Prime Minister said yesterday. Bangladesh can rest assured that as far as any of its efforts are concerned, India is fully behind you.
I hope you won't mind if I ask you this question. How does India view Bangladesh's rising closeness with China, with suspicion or with maturity?
Our relations with Bangladesh is quite unique, and we don't see it in the prism of any third country.
Will this visit shed some light on this issue?
The focus of the visit is in India and Bangladesh, and I don't think we are going to look into your relationship with other countries. We have, as I said, a unique history, unique geography, unique civilizational relationship, and I think that's enough for us.
But will the US President's anti-China policy encourage India to push for an anti-Chinese policy on her neighbors? India's
policies are determined by its people, not by those of the priorities of other countries, and we will continue to follow what is important for our national interest.
You have already shown your gratitude to our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for her determination and successful effort to dismantle all the camps of insurgents from the northeast that Khaleda Zia's government had allowed in a mistaken policy to keep pressure on India. You have already shown that. Don't you think that our Prime Minister should get some thanks from India for this?
No, as far as our respect and gratitude for Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina goes, I think every Indian is amply clear about that. And I did mention a little earlier in our separate interactions that in a recent poll, majority of Indians felt that Bangladesh was one of their very close friends and neighbors. And that is in many senses linked to the policies of the Prime Minister. I think she has demonstrated that two countries can live peacefully and in harmony. That we can now work towards meeting the aspirations of our people as we develop, as we grow, as India grows economically, because remember, we are the two fastest growing economies in the world today. And that is the way we should be. We should work in complementarity, we should work in synergy, develop together, and our priorities should be focused on developmental issues, and we should not get diverted to other issues. We should minimize those diversions. And in that context, obviously, there is high respect and regard for the policies and the approach of the Prime Minister in maintaining a close and cooperative relationship with your neighbors, particularly with India.
You have said that friendship is based on integrity, mutual benefit. India and Bangladesh, are we in this track? Mutual benefit and integrity.
Absolutely. I think there is nothing that we would like to do which is not a mutual benefit. In other words, every single step we take, we should ask each other, is this good for you and is it good for us? If it is good for both of us, we take that step. If it is not, we don't take that step. If it is only good for me, it doesn't work. If it's only good for you, it doesn't work. What I'm saying is that our approach is we go for a win-win situation, not for a zero-sum game. And that is what is meant by mutual respect and mutual benefit.
We believe that friendship can be changed, but geographical neighbor cannot be altered. The people of Bangladesh would like to see India as their closest friend, closest ally. We believe that India also needs Bangladesh as significant development partner and as good friend. Is it unrealistic thought?
That's what mutuality benefit is. That if you believe that there is a benefit there, you go for it, and so do we. And I think today we are in a situation where we are able to optimize our complementarities and our synergies in terms of trade, in terms of economies, in terms of our requirements for high technology investments. and most of all at the level of people to people contacts. We have better contacts, more exchanges at the popular level, the better it is for us. That is why we encourage a lot more tourism, a lot more travel, a lot more cultural exchanges. One of our high priorities is to ensure that culturally there is a lot of exchanges between our two countries. It's not only because we have a common culture, but also I think because we can expose people of our respective countries to the uniqueness of our cultural identities.
Do you think our Prime Minister's visit to India will build a new dynamic and win-win relationship for both the countries?
I have no doubt about that. I think Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's visit will be a historic visit, it will be a landmark visit, it will be very, very well received by the people of India. It will be an important visit, it will have a lot of outcomes, and as I said right in the beginning, it will be a most successful visit from your point of view and our point of view.
Do you like to say something to our audience, the people of Bangladesh?
Well, I can only say that News24 is one of the channels I watch, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity to be here. Ever since I've come, I've felt very comfortable, very much at home in Bangladesh. People are warm and effusive. I do feel an advantage because where I come from in India is only 8 kilometers from the border of Bangladesh and India. So in a certain sense, I'm already your close neighbor. But in many senses, for me, I feel being in Bangladesh is like coming home to my region.
Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much, Samyaji, for having me here.
থ্যাংক ইউ দর্শক, আজকের মতো শেষ করছি নিউজ 24 এর সাথে ভারতীয় হাই কমিশনার হর্ষবর্ধন শ্রিংলার বিশেষ সাক্ষাৎকারটি। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।